Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sebastian, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And folks, we got a great show for you guys here today. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel, and be sure to follow me on Instagram. My handle is CTABANZ. So let's get into today's topic. So Shaq now finds himself in the crosshairs of a lot of people because Shaquille O'Neal recently made some comments that were pertaining to what Tracy McGrady had originally said when he went on ESPN First Take, where he essentially said that, if you replace me with Kobe on the Lakers, you telling me I don't win championship with Shaq, you had that there. Then a lot of people pushed back on T-Mac on that one. So a lot of people were surprised to see when Shaquille O'Neal jumped out the window and then said, no, T-Mac is right. I would have won 3 championships with him. I could have won 2 with Vince, and I could have won 6 with Stephen Curry. And a lot of people were like, what? Now Shaq is partaking on the nonsense? So yesterday we actually did a show that featured some sound from the big podcast where Shaq had on Markieff and Marcus Morris, the Morris twins, on his show. And they broached this very subject, right? So during that conversation, Shaq tried to reiterate the point of how he thought he could win with T-Mac and all of that. But what was interesting, however, was that the Morris brothers totally disagree with him. They're like, big fella, you got it wrong. Like, you got it totally wrong here. And then they started to explain the reasons why they felt that Shaq was wrong about his position on this. So for those of you who maybe didn't hear that sound, I'm going to play that for you now. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what they had to say there originally.
T-Mac made a statement the other day, and I'm going to answer after you guys answer. He said, if you switch him and Kobe out, as far as playing with me, the outcome is the same. You agree or disagree?
No, you're not just saying you switching out with Kobe and you're gonna be what Kobe was. That's not. Yeah, I don't agree with
nothing
that.
Nothing away from T-Mac.
Great player.
Oh, you not Kobe.
Yeah, and that mentality too.
I might have to disagree.
I don't know though. You know what my difference mine is though, big fella, is the mentality. Like it was like that killer mentality. Everybody didn't have that. Like he was a great player. Don't get me wrong, but it was times that Mike and Kobe, I felt like that Mike gave Kobe something that nobody else would be able to even imitate and be able to like have that mentality. A lot of players no other players had it, really.
I agree with you saying, but I'm saying, I didn't look at it like that. That's why I like everybody's opinion. You don't think I could have won 3 with T-Mac? I think I could have.
Yeah, for sure.
T-Mac was a bad boy.
But then,
was bad.
What about the 2 after
away
you left?
from that though?
T-Mac was a bad boy.
I feel like you put any of the
you could say that about outside of T-Mac. You could say a lot of them put him next to you at that time.
Good point.
Right.
All right, what about Vince? Me and Vince.
I feel like
3 in a row.
I feel like people
it's
downplay Vince. They just think he a dunker. Vince was one of the most talented players
yeah.
ever played.
I believe the same thing.
Actually, when he said that, a lot of people hit me, but T-Mac was a bad boy.
Yeah, for sure.
He was.
And I feel like even not saying it, it's just like Kobe just watching, playing in the league, and was a fan, and like everybody watched T-Mac. Everybody knew how good T-Mac was. But if you asking a question about him or Kobe Bryant, I don't know what team they was on. If he obviously everybody's path different, but like what Kobe has, there was only one other player that's the greatest player in the world has. Like they're the only 2 that has that.
I just realized I'm a few years older than you guys. I'm from Bucks County. And so I grew up hearing about Kobe at Lower Merion.
Lower Merion, yep.
And then I also remember this guy and Kobe coming to Philadelphia in 2001, booing Destiny's Child because I think Beyonce was wearing a Lakers jersey. Like, what being from Philly and then Kobe playing in Philly, how much were you like big fans of him when you guys were coming up?
Extremely big fans, but we was more AI guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the best.
The best. Yeah.
Nobody can overtake Bubba Chuck like in Philadelphia.
That time, yeah.
TGI Fridays.
No touching him.
Man.
No touching
Every week.
Great. So you heard that. Now, so here's what happened. So yesterday, I was just going through the internet last night. I'd finished with work and everything. And I came across a video from Fox Sports Radio. And this video had the following title says, Rob G goes off on Shaq's 3 rings with T-Mac claim. Now, Rob G, I've known about him, but I've never seen his face. But he's kind of like, I don't want to say the moderator of these shows, but like maybe the producer, I don't know, but he's always in the background kind of giving context to what's being said and all of that. But I never knew that, number one, he was a Laker fan, and number two, he was a historian. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, he works at FS1. Chances are you should know what the hell you're talking about if you're working at that company. So I just was unaware of the fact that he knew so much about basketball. So he took a lot of exception with what Shaq said. And he decided to go with Shaq. But he went at him in two ways to use his characterization of what he was saying. One, he used details and information. And in the other part, he used emotion. And he started to really break down Shaq's career prior to playing with Kobe. And to be honest with you, I didn't know a lot of the stuff that he was talking about. Because at the time I was very, very young. I wasn't watching basketball in 95. I was too young to really understand what was going on. So I wasn't watching the sport that way. Remember, Shaq got drafted, I believe, in 92, if I'm not mistaken. So he started to go through Shaq's career and talk about all of the losing that Shaq was experiencing prior to Kobe and all the times he got swept. And he basically made the argument, bro, if you never played with Kobe, you would have probably never won anything at all. So for you to sit here and say that, oh, if you just plug and play, put somebody else in the position of Kobe Bryant, I win. He's like, Shaq, this is extremely offensive and you sound delusional. For those of you who didn't hear what Rob G had to say, want to play his comments for you now. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Rob G here.
Quote was, T-Mac said if you switch him and Kobe out as far as playing with me, the outcome is the same. You don't think I would have won 3 with T-Mac? I think I could have. And let me just say this to Shaq. Stop it! We've gotten to a point now where the mythology of Shaquille O'Neal has eclipsed the player. And I'm going to focus on Shaq right now. Okay. I'm going to bring facts first. I'm going to bring feelings later because I think both are important. Shaq is credited with being the most dominant player in NBA history. For my money, he is. Mm-hmm. He is the most physically dominant, imposing player that I've ever seen. And he's the biggest reason why when we have these mythical debates, like who's going to win, Jordan Bulls or the Showtime Lakers? Showtime Lakers or the Steph KD Warriors? Steph KD Warriors versus Shaq Kobe Lakers. Ultimately, it always comes down to, for me, is, who's going to guard Shaq? That's why I'm picking 01 versus damn near everybody, because I don't think there's anybody that could have handled 01 Shaq, point blank, period. Having said that, for Shaq to come out and say, you put Tracy McGrady with me instead of Kobe, we're winning those 3 chips. Shaq, let me take you down memory lane real quick so that we know exactly what we're talking about when it comes to the greatness of Kobe Bryant. You had T-Mac before T-Mac in Orlando. His name was Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway was a 2-time first-team All-NBA player, 3rd in MVP voting when he played with Shaq one year in 1996. And you know what happened? Shaq got swept out of the playoffs. 94, 95, 96. 2 of those years with who at the time was the Tracy McGrady, the Kobe Bryant, the Dwayne Wade of that league. Moves over to the Lakers. Swept out of the playoffs. 1998, 1999. 5 times before Kobe reached his ascension, you were swept out of the postseason. One of those years in Los Angeles, you had 4 All-Stars on your team getting swept out by the Spurs. It wasn't until Kobe Bryant made the leap from, hey, this kid's got a lot of potential, to, hey, this guy is legitimately a star player, that they got over the hump. And now I'm going to work backwards from that three-peat. In 2002, Shaq, deservedly finals MVP, dominant in that run. You know, Kobe led the team in scoring 10 times in that run.
He was incredible.
Shaq led him in scoring 8 times. So even though Shaq was the guy in the finals, Kobe was the guy all the way up until they got there. 2001, Kobe led the team in scoring 8 times. Shaq led the team in scoring 8 times. So in 2001, they were at a minimum equal, right? During that playoff run as players. Again, Shaq, because it goes against the Eastern Conference, cooks in the finals. So the assumption is this is Shaq's team. Shaq's the better player. Shaq was the finals MVP. Going back to 2000, the first one, make no bones about it, that was the pinnacle Shaq. MVP, easily the best player in the year of the year. The most dominant season by the most dominant player I think we've seen from Shaq. You know, in the 2000 Western Conference Finals, Game 7, the one where they were down by 15, where Phil Jackson says on record, we might as well pack it in, guys. We're not winning this game. It's over. You know who led that comeback?
Who that?
It wasn't Shaq. It was Kobe. In that Game 7, decided Game 7, Kobe led the team in points, rebounds, assists, blocks. Had the highest plus minus on the team, or of the starters. That wasn't Shaq. That was Kobe. Hell, I can make a case that Shaq, not only are you not winning 3 championships with Tracy McGrady, you might not even win 1. You do not get by Portland if Kobe doesn't go supernova in Game 7. And now I'm going to bring feelings into it. Elijah, put the camera on me. Where's my camera? Is it right here? Is it right here? I'm going to go right here. Shaq, you don't want to make an enemy out of me. What you said, I just pointed out, was factually inaccurate. But to make it worse, in an effort to build up your own mythology, in an effort to remind the younger generation just how good you were, you disrespected the best player you ever played with. You disrespected the man who you spoke at his funeral because you wanted to make yourself feel better. You should be ashamed of yourself, Shaq. Don't ever bring that nonsense in here again.
So you heard what he had to say. This was a masterful response to Shaquille O'Neal's comments. It was a masterful response. He hit the nail on the head, and to be frank with you, he educated me. I didn't know about a lot of the stuff that he mentioned. I didn't know that Shaq lost that much without Kobe Bryant. I didn't know that. I also didn't know the fact that Kobe led those Lakers in scoring in the playoffs for a couple of occasions more than Shaq did. I never knew that. If you listen to Gilbert Arenas and all of these other Kobe fans go out there and say that, you would think otherwise. You would think that Shaq had Kobe on his back like a backpack and was carrying him all over the place, when in reality, that wasn't the case at all. And I think that that is the reason Kobe was so offended with Shaq, where he was like, it's one thing if people are saying I'm this sidekick nonsense. It's another thing if you start buying into it. And Kobe said the minute he heard Shaq kind of give credibility to what they were saying, he was, oh, no, now I got to show you. Because you know the deal, because you play with me every day. We practice every day. You know how good I am. But for you to feed into this nonsense, Kobe was like, no, I got to show you. And that's what Kobe did. Kobe went on to win 2 more championships without Shaq. How many Shaq won without him? 1. So Rob G was putting it in its proper perspective. Now, from the perspective of Shaq, Shaq may have been talking about it from the standpoint of he believed in his abilities so much that he felt like he could win with anybody. But Rob G's like, bro, you already had your Shaq, your T-Mac in Hardaway. You won nothing with him. Before there was T-Mac, there was Penny Hardaway. You won nothing with him. So for you to now say, oh, you can just take this guy and put him in there, it's ridiculous. And then the thing then becomes, well, you can use this example the other way. I can easily say to you, Kobe would have won 7 titles had he played with Hakeem Olajuwon. Or he would have won 6 titles had he played with Tim Duncan. You could make that argument legitimately. Can't you? You see how ridiculous it is to do this? Because you could do it in the opposite direction. Tim Duncan had an extreme level of consistency that Shaq didn't. So if you put Kobe as teammates and you give him Tim Duncan, how many rings do they win? 7, 8? Because Kobe always believed that him and Shaq could have won, 7 championships or as many as they wanted to. So for him, he's like, bro, what are you talking about here? You're the one that held me back. If you had taken your nutrition more seriously, we could have won more. You held me back. That's the argument that Kobe was making with Shaq. You held me back from winning more because I was always ready. I was the one that had to push you. These are real life stories. We all know the story. You heard when Kobe Bryant said it on that interview that he did on Valuetainment. He was like, if you attack Shaq took his, and Shaq then responded to that. Right? So I'm happy that Rob G came with the facts. Because some of that I didn't know. I didn't know that Kobe led the Lakers in scoring that many. I never knew that. If you listen to a lot of these morons on the internet, you would think it'd be otherwise. You have some of them saying, "Oh man, Kobe only has 2 NBA Finals MVPs." Okay, well, at that period of time, who's winning a Finals MVP over Shaq? At the level he was playing at that time, who? You put Stephen Curry on that team, he's winning a Finals MVP over Shaq. He couldn't win a Finals MVP over Kevin Durant. So how could he win a Finals MVP over Shaq? You gonna put LeBron on that team? LeBron is gonna win a Finals MVP playing with Shaq? Really? LeBron? Nobody would have won. The only person you could even make an argument was probably Michael Jordan. Maybe Jordan would have won Finals MVPs over, and a lot of that had to do with the philosophy of Phil Jackson because they wanted to feature Shaq more with what do you call it? Within the offense. That was the philosophy there. Had nothing to do with, and then what did it prove? It proved that when he had Kobe Bryant as his primary offensive, when he was featuring him as the premier offensive player in his offense, they still won championships. They still went back to back. They still went to the finals. So this thing of Shaq, it's nonsense, right? It's nonsense, and I think that Rob G did a masterful job of just dispelling all of these myths. So for those of you who thought that he did an excellent job, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And for those of you who disagree with him, tell me the reasons why you disagree with him. Leave it in the comment section, and we catch you guys on the next show.